If the authority of the court should be destroyed, if their carefully determined decrees are arbitrarily and without investigation, merely upon suspicion and general belief set aside, if recourse is to be had to blackmail or to terrorism, sabotage, dynamite, and murder, to the doctrines of direct action of the Bolshevists and the IWW, the weak are the ones who will suffer in any such decision. I venture to say that with all the imperfections of human nature, from which we cannot escape under any system to which of man ever devised, and with all...
My dear reporters, I have a statement to make. Then I will answer questions. Never at any time did I think my actions would cause this deplorable situation. My deportation, my incarceration here on Ellis Island, waiting to board the SS Buford, a battered old tub, the worst dump I have ever seen, bound for Russia. It should have been condemned years ago. But I am not alone. There are 247 other foreigners and 250 armed guards, and only 3 women, totally separated from the men, locked in our own rat-infested space. The stench from the fear-driven anxiety is palpable. I left Russia with its slavery of its peasants to their lord, physical and verbal condemnation of the Jew. Pogroms. I can still hear the tinkling of the glass as the Tsar's soldiers smash my grandmama's prize glass bowl. Pogroms. There is very little difference between pogroms and raids by police. A big, powerful country, moving heaven and earth to gag little me. Look at me, 50, slightly overweight. I just speak my mind. To no longer enjoy my adopted birthplace, New York City. To lose the joy of traveling across this magnificent country, my homeland of choice. I am bereft. There is still much work to be done for the unemployed, for women's rights. One must never forget our social revolution is to make people's lives better. Now, your turn. One question at a time. What do I regret? Nothing. I have not a single drop of remorse in the life I have lived to this point. Do I think Mr. Hoover has a grudge against me? Yes. I think he has something against me, that nasty little man. For years, he has tried to stifle Emma Goldman, the most dangerous woman. I bet you any amount of money he will be standing there, watching the deportees board that ship. I have a question. Why did you call me the most dangerous woman? No comment. My only weapons was words, my words of truth and passion. Yes. Any comment on the rumor that I will fight my deportation to remain in the United States? No comment. Yes. That's a very good question. Would I write a book about my life in America? Yes. I would start with the first thrilling sight of the Statue of Liberty as it emerged through the mist when I came at 17 in 1886 with my sister Helena to the land of high hopes and dreams coming true. From Russia, by ship, we arrived in Rochester, New York in early January to live with our sister Lena, earning $2.50 a week, working in a sweatshop, 10.5 hours a day, making coats. My life in Rochester was dull, unstimulating, endless drudgery. I think that succeeded covers my life in Rochester. until Thursday, the 3rd of May, when I read about a non-violent union rally. All the workers were asking for was an 8-hour day, no wage cuts. The police killed 4 union men. Following day, to protest and mourn the death of fellow strikers. The riot turned to, rather, it wasn't a riot. It was first a nice calm rally, and then it turned into a riot. When a bomb was thrown, several police were killed and injured. 8 men were arrested, one of whom wasn't even present at the rally, Black Friday, and the resulting trial consumed me. I focused my whole energy on the plight of the 8 men. The trial was a travesty. Helena and I ravenously read all accounts of the Haymarket incident and trial. Interestingly, it seemed that an 8-hour day was put into law in Illinois in 1867, 2 years before I was born, but the employers refused to comply. The press felt that unions and anarchism was synonymous, therefore trouble. You were vicious against the accused 8. Terrible. And even against all foreigners. Now this boggles my mind. Are we not all foreigners in this country? A German publication, Die Freiheit, edited by Johann Most, which contained his fiery words, which fueled my need to right the wrong. It was through Die Freiheit that I subscribed to many articles and started to develop my anarchistic ideals. My goal, to be an anarchist with passion and purpose, to change the present social order to one based on reason and justice. I believe in order, just not enforced order. One night at the dinner party at Lena's, everyone was commenting on the Haymarket incident in Chicago. One woman laughingly said, "What's all the lament about? These men were murderers. It's well some of them were hung." That was the last straw. I grabbed a pitcher of water and threw it in her face. I was no longer content to sympathize with the workers. I knew I had to be more active in my beliefs. I made their cause mine. Once the decision was made, I had a wonderful sensation that something new and wonderful had been born in my soul. I'm going to go to New York City. After borrowing $5 from my sister Helena, and on probably the hottest day of the summer, I left by train for New York City with my worldly possessions, a small bag of clothes, and my sewing machine. I arrived at Grand's, my introduction to Most and his followers, opened the door to a new world. I expected Most to be big, strong, based on his fiery written words, but he was short, slight, and had a disfiguring scar on his face. But the moment I heard him speak, I was dumbstruck. His eyes sparkled, and he grew 4 feet. He stirred Hearing his passionate and sarcastic words was even better than reading his articles, and the mention of the Haymarket incident confirmed my resolve to be active in the cause and to be in New York City. At his invitation, I began to work in his office. He liked my facility with words and how I expressed my feelings, that he started to give me lessons in public speaking, right in the middle of the hub of people running back and forth, talking, writing, setting type. Stand straight. Look into the eyes of the people. Separate your legs. Don't stand there like a simpering this. Be aggressive, a strong woman, not afraid of anything. Chop the air with your hands and speak from your heart. Learning the art of public speaking, being with Sasha, and going to Saks Cafe, I am very content. The Lower East Side was a bubbling mecca, a kind of left bank with theaters, cafes, ad hoc universities, found in tenement assembly rooms, lectures, readings, constantly taking place, not only the European intellectual, but the American-born intellectual, were all drawn to that vibrant cultural life. I was in my milieu, anarchists, intellectuals, music, dancing. After a while, it seemed right for Sasha and I to live together. We lived in a building called the Bohemian Republic. Little did I know then that Sasha and he would become the center of my life. So, bits and pieces, we made money to live. I tried working in those abominable, deplorable sweatshops, but couldn't keep my mouth closed against all those horrendous working conditions. The one fortunate thing that my papa did for me as a child in Russia was to insist that I learn a trade. I became an expert dressmaker from a French seamstress. I sewed silk shirts at home. You say that 3 times. Sasha and I shared an apartment with Fedor. Fedor, his distant cousin and a fellow anarchist. Sasha felt that Fedor wasn't as dedicated to the movement as he should be. He is an incurable bourgeois who likes material things too much. He's an excellent artist who loved beauty and color and sometimes would buy me flowers. This drove Sasha crazy. How can one live with luxuries when people live in poverty? Oh, Sasha, beautiful things are not luxuries, but necessities. Life without beauty is no life at all. I would rather have roses on my table than diamonds on my neck. It was late winter of 1890. Most announced. You are ready. I have a speaking engagement I cannot fulfill. Oh, I have always been too shy to speak in public and assumed all the words of wisdom on how to deliver a speech would never be a reality, and that I would be the feisty comrade in the cafes and in my home. Given the topic of an 8-hour day, most accompany me to Grand Central Station. I have never experienced such nerves. Sweating. My heart was pounding so I'm sure my blouse was moving with every beat. Most said goodbye. On stage, I totally shut down. Forgot my copious notes. Closed my eyes to remove the audience from you. Took a deep breath. Gave a 40-minute speech about the movement so far, got on the train and came back home. Over the next many months, I learned to relax. I led marches. I gave speeches. When I speak, a fine haze covers me and takes control of my words. These words are passion-covered words that reach people, to reach deep into their minds, minds of all classes. My tongue, a fire that's willing to burn big business and government with every scathing word I know. When I step up on that platform, an intensity rages through me. It befuddles me where it comes from, but it is glorious. No, I do not censor my thoughts. Why would I do that? My goal is to instill in the workers the drive to fight for their rights. It still amazes me, this wonderful gift. Why does my voice reach so many people? Is it because I'm a woman? I know why it happens. God goes down the aisle, giving out traits to Nuki. Pretty lady, blue eyes, red hair, white hair, blue eyes, green eyes, black hair, red hair. Passion. Oh, God. God sneezed and lost his place. Oh, and gave me another portion of passion. Many, many thank yous, God, for this wonderful gift. Sasha and I, over the next 3 years, led marches, strikes, and I talked. Injustice makes my blood boil. I'm out there stirring up the pot, and the police are at full alert, ever present at all my talks. But I'm not too upset when the police break up my meetings. The press quotes me extensively, and my words reach a large audience. Money is always a problem. Fedra got a very good job as a graphic artist in Worcester, Massachusetts. Please, you say that 3 times. Fedra eventually enticed Sasha and me to join him. We worked with Fedra. And then the 3 of us opened our own tea and ice cream parlor. At night, with many cups of tea, we read and reread about an ongoing troubled situation. The steel workers' strike in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in 1892, the Homestead strike. The old contract was not being renewed. Mr. Carnegie, the president of Carnegie Steel, the low-lying coward, left the volatile situation to Mr. Henry Playfair, chairman of the company, who didn't have a decent bone in his body. He refused to negotiate. I'll close the damn mills, and the workers can consider themselves discharged. It's not a strike, but a lockout. I'd rather see them dead than accept their demands. One day, I noticed the headlines of the discarded newspapers. I locked the shop. I ran the 3 blocks to our rooms, clutching the paper to my breast. Sasha, Homestead families of striking workers are evicted from company housing. Fedra, a woman in confinement is carried out into the street by sheriffs. We can help the workers. We must go back to New York. Once back, the headlines read, armed picketed detectives on a barge opened fire without any warning on the strikers lining the Monongahela River killing many workers. Scores were wounded, including a little boy. Sasha, you're quiet. What are you thinking? I will kill Frick to bring world attention to his heinous crimes. Brilliant, brilliant. I will come with you. A woman has easy access to places. No! I want you to tell the world the reason for Frick's assassination, to tell the world about his heinous crimes. A bomb was the weapon of choice. Sasha is making a bomb in our apartment. Billy are in the kitchen, reading the directions on how to make a bomb. And ordinary life is going on all around us. Robert's baby is crying upstairs. Mrs. Bernardo is making her spaghetti sauce. And Sasha is making a bomb. He could blow all our neighbors to pieces. Does he know what he is doing? Just be careful. Hurry up and finish. No! Take your time. The next day, Sasha took the bomb to Staten Island. It didn't work. Plan B, a gun. Major problem. No money to buy a gun. I had a plan that I didn't share with Sasha or Frederick. If Sonia in Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment is forced into prostituting herself to save her siblings from starvation, how wonderful! Why can't I? I spent several nights on 4th Avenue and 14th Street looking at the ladies of the night. I can make a dress and then go to the second-hand shop for shoes, whatever. Finally, at 10:30, I joined the parade of the ladies of the night. I am not in my element. But if Sasha can give his life, oh, my defaulter, and not do my part. A tall, distinguished, white-haired gentleman is walking towards me. Little darling, let's get a drink. I led him into a bar. I'm sure none of my friends or comrades frequent, with a beer in one hand and my heart in my mouth. So, little darling, what on earth are you doing here? Why do you ask? I saw a man walking in your direction, and you quicken your pace. Your dress is nice. Your shoes are atrocious. Where'd you get them? At a second-hand shop? Go home. This business ain't for you. He handed me a $10 bill. He was right. The shoes are atrocious, and the heels are killing my feet. He borrowed the rest of the money. Sasha traveled to Pittsburgh. At the Carnegie headquarters, posing as a strikebreaker, he entered Frick's private office and managed to shoot him, but not kill him, which eased the pain in my heart. Sasha then tried to stab Frick as they both rolled around on the floor. Sasha was sentenced to 22 years. Now my soul is in constant pain. Only Sasha and Fedor knew of the part I played in the abortive assassination. The press and the police were relentless. They tried to prove my complicity in Sasha's act. They hounded me like a rabid dog. They broke into my home and confiscated my papers, but they never could connect me to the shooting of Fred. I tried to unite the movement to help commute Sasha's sentence, but to no avail. Johann Most, the revered leader of the movement, who advocated force in his fight for justice, changed his stance. He berated Sasha for being bad press to the movement. Most rejection of Sasha was unfathomable to me. So one night, I went to hear Most talk. I brought a whip with me. As he spoke, my ire continued to rise, and in a burst of fury, I climbed upon the stage and struck him across the head, neck, shoulders, broke the whip, threw it at his feet, and fled before anybody could react to my actions. I'm upset by my actions, but not why I was driven to do it. I know why Most betrayed Sasha. It was what had occurred in the cab to Grand Central Station for my first speaking engagement. You remember that he had arranged? Most was happy and smiling and asked if he could hold me. I must have said yes. Most said, "I love you." He's kissing me. He's smothering me. I can't breathe. Blonde cuff. Marry me. Do not call me blonde cuff. I would follow you blindly, but I will not give up my hard-won independence for marriage, and I do not want children. Emma Goldman, you're a viper, a snake! When I returned, Most was cold and distant. Sadness overwhelmed me. The loss of my idol, my mentor, was irreplaceable. It was a very lonely time for me. No Sasha, no Most. Friends were afraid to be with me. They were frightened to have me in their homes. Guilt by association, so implied the police. I found myself homeless, not wishing to deny who I am by seeking shelter and using a pseudonym. I took to the streets. No, not selling my body, but sleeping in the park. Alternate nights in the 2nd Avenue Cafe until 3 in the morning, then riding a streetcar all the way up to the Bronx and back. Who was more tired, me or the horse? It's ironic how a funny situation. Jokes are always present. The night policeman, a contemporary in age only. My attire was a blue and white striped dress, long gray coat, which resembled a nurse's uniform. He took it upon himself to act as my guardian against all trouble. If he only knew that the diminutive nurse was Emma Goldman, he probably would have been promoted to desk sergeant. One night, while riding a streetcar on 4th Avenue, I noticed a house advertising rooms for rent. How delightful, a clean room and hot water. But the first night I had a rather sleepless night. Daughter! Daughter, open up, it's a joke. Lucietta! Esther, hurry up and open up. Esther! I found out that my abode was a brothel. No matter. Small business. What delightful and informative times I had with the ladies. At tea and during fittings. They enjoyed chatting and sharing their thoughts on men and morals. I always wondered how the male justifies this theory, where the woman is a fallen woman and the man is getting experience. He needs his sexual experience as part of his development. Well, who's he supposed to get this experience with? Really? Ouch! Times are hard for him. There's very little choice. Marriage is primarily an economic arrangement. Pregnancies. At least all the money is mine. It is a profession. Sometimes I crave the companionship of my fellow anarchists and would go out to an occasional meeting. It was here with a chance encounter I met Mr. Ed Bradley. Charming, kind, and literate. We read books together. He introduced me to the classics. Shakespeare, Rousseau, Voltaire. The dictionary is a very good friend. Much of the money that I earn sewing is spent on books. I would rather have another book than a new dress. Ladies, you just put a pin or a scarf on the mended spot. Ed and I did many things together. It was the spring of 1893. I organized a march for the striking cloak makers and the unemployed. I chose red as my marching banner. It was one of my favorite colors. Thus, the press noticed my appellation, Red Emma. 8-hour day, union wages. 8-hour day, union wages. I can't hear you. 8-hour day, union wages. 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 I spoke of the wage slave's life. I quoted the famous maxim of Cardinal Manning: necessity knows no laws, and a starving person has a natural right to share of his neighbor's bread. Ask for work. If they do not give you work, ask for bread. If they do not give you work or bread, then take bread. I was arrested for inciting to riot, tried and found guilty, and sentenced to 1 year at Blackwell Penitentiary. I think that the judicial system is a farce. Whatever happened to freedom of speech? It is my first 24 hours of incarceration. Clanging of the gates, the finality, and I cannot go where and when I want. How do you bear it? Oh, Sasha, how very much I miss you. The hostility of the women covers me like a glove. I am smothering, suffocating. The guilt I felt when you first went to prison is only alleviated a bit by my own incarceration. I understand even more what you are going through. Well, the matron is assigning work areas. With your seamstress background, I'm putting you in charge of the sewing room. You make sure that the women keep their production up. No way would I be a slave driver. The news of my refusal that I wouldn't be a tattletale was whispered throughout the prison. It sounded like a huge beehive. I could feel the atmosphere changing dramatically. I gave advice to the women when requested. I shared my delicious food bought by the comrades on the short ferry ride from the city. My grandmama and many friends came to visit, and I didn't feel quite so desolate. In fact, it felt a little like I am a queen bee. It's ironic how a bad situation turns into a golden opportunity. A doctor requested that I be assigned to the hospital to work. I always wanted to be a doctor. I had the grades to get into university. My conduct grade was poor, therefore I was rejected. But I now had the skills and the experience in nursing to make money. And the doctor recommended private patients when I was released. Prison time was a major turning point in my life. The library was a wealth of exciting books in English, which improved my English proficiency. My faith in myself and in the movement was tested, and foremost important in my mind was the fact that I was truly on my own and that I didn't see anything through anybody else's eyes. Not Sasha's, not Ed's, not most. Thank you, State of New York, for this excellent education. Sasha, a bit of joy to make you smile. On the day that I was released, I had a welcoming home reception at the theater on the Lower East Side. And 2,800 friends and comrades, all standing and yelling and applauding, speech, speech, speech. Sasha, picture me on stage, drenched in their warmth. My dear friends and comrades, I come back to you after spending time in prison for talking. If your representatives of your government are going to prosecute women for talking, then they will have to start with their mothers, their wives, their sisters, their sweethearts, for they will never stop women from talking. But it was little Emma Goldman who was prosecuted. It was the thoughts of Emma Goldman. It was the principles of anarchy that were prosecuted. It was the right of free speech that was prosecuted in the courts, not little Emma Goldman. Oh, I was swamped by reporters. Oh, an instant celebrity in their eyes. Their articles were very nice to me this time. Oh, I had an incredible amount of invitations to lecture. My stature as an anarchist is rising to new heights. Sasha, having seen and heard from the women in prison so many injustices of the law, it is my duty as agitator to tell the world our work is never, never, never done. Papa, I'm making a mark in history. Not married, and making lenses. Papa, are you proud? I must tell you, Fed is funding my trip to Vienna with the monies that he makes as a graphic artist, so that I can learn midwifery and improve my nursing skills. I am 26 years old. What a full life so far. Once in Vienna, I study. I attend classes, lectures, even some with Sigmund Freud. Opera, concerts, and theater, so many interesting plays. Ibsen is the best. Mr. Ibsen is for the women of the world. My favorite by far is The Dollhouse. Several times I almost jumped from my seat to shout in agreement. Don't keep a woman in a gilded cage. She slams the door as she leaves. Bravo, Mr. Ibsen. I arrived back in New York in November with 2 diplomas, midwifery, nursing, lots and lots of books, and a new appreciation for the theater. Ed and I have a new apartment. I have my very own room. I can go in and close my door. At night, we attend meetings. Tonight was a very young Italian girl, maybe 16 years old. I was very impressed with her speech. Ed, on the other hand, vibrated in anger. She should be married and having children. Did he really want that for me? Why do men eventually want me to be their little woman who they can protect and make pregnant? I made a very difficult and the saddest decision not to have children. In fact, my own unhappy childhood. Neglected child is a terrible thing. Would I make the same mistakes as my mother? I would not have that. I cannot ignore the blatant fact that what Ed wanted, I could not give him. A traditional wife and mother. I couldn't reconcile myself to a love that insists I must change. I pride myself on my freedom to do my work, to be spontaneous, to teach the people. Last month I gave 126 speeches in small towns, big city, anarchist groups, ladies' luncheons, unions on strike, or anyone who would listen. Ed, please, accept me as I am. Ed left me. I probably stayed longer than I should have, simply because I needed someone in my life to be exact, a warm body in my bed. Sasha, the authorities told me not to communicate with you. Why? They treat you like a rabid dog. Why? In solitary confinement, in a straitjacket, in your own excrement and urine. Why? Please, do not despair. Soon we will have you out of that living grave. St. Louis, Friday, the 6th of September, 1901. Extra, extra! President McKinley shot in Buffalo! Read all about it. Leon Shogas confesses Emma Goldman excited him looking for Emma Goldman. Crazy. Crazy. I bought all the papers with the story. The police are hunting for me while my friends and comrades are being arrested in Chicago, my second home. I must go and clear everyone's name. No one could stop me. I was on the next train to Chicago, but instead I found myself in Cook County Jail. Not arrested, just detained. Please, remove the reflector. It is burning my eyes. I have answered the same question again and then again. I am completely and totally not in conspiracy with Shogas. You did not see me with Shogas in Buffalo. I was in St. Louis. He is not my lover. Please, We have been here hours and hours. May I have some water? Oh. I was saddened to learn of the death of the president. But my need to defend Shogash was strong. So I wrote an article entitled "The Tragedy of Buffalo." I quote, "Far from being depraved individuals of low instincts, are super-sensitive beings unable to bear up under too great a social strain. They are driven to some violent expression, even at the expense of their own life, because they cannot witness the suffering and the misery of their fellows. The blame for such acts should be laid at the door of those responsible for injustice and inhumanity which dominates the world." The police tried to drag a confession out of Shogash as he was strapped into the electric chair, hood covered head. Emma Goldman had nothing to do with my act. I did it alone for the American people. My defense of Shogash infuriated the press and my comrades. Wisely, I retreated into my work as a midwife and nurse helping the poor people of New York City, as Mrs. E.G. Smith, my incognito name. My spiritual soul needed mending. After a while, I was longing to give speeches. I had a new audience, the American-born progressive. The American-born, I should add, American-born middle-class progressive. My popularity was growing. I had an incredible amount of invitations to lecture as E.G. Emma Goldman Smith. Wonderful news. Oh. October 1905, the Russian Revolution, a new happening is beginning. Oh, oh, the radicals are raising money to help free the men in prison and in Siberia. It's very interesting. But things happen unbeknownst to me, and I was very thrilled to find out. But a traveling actors group from Russia asked for my assistance to interpret and to be the company manager. I am now $250 richer and have the funds to start Mother Earth, My Baby, a monthly magazine devoted to social science and literature. I chose Walt Whitman, Tolstoy, and Eugene O'Neill, his first published poem, and Man Ray, one of my favorite artists who designed the cover. Oh, I am best euphoric. Sasha is home, a free man as of August 18th, 1906. After 14 years, and the first printing of my magazine, Mother Earth. Mother Earth put anarchism back in the public eye after the assassination of McKinley. Mother Earth office is in my home, 210 East 13th Street. It is a haven for me to refurbish my emotional coffers that get depleted. It's very difficult to ignore the mistreatment of the press and the police. It is a center for my comrades. It is a mecca for the anarchist movement. We fondly call it the inn for wounded souls. Yes, it is here that ideas are challenged, beliefs are confirmed. The couch never cools off. We talk, we argue, we dance, we eat. I love to cook. My pots are never empty. It calms me. I can see a finished product, whereas in life, there's only the hope that there will be change. We hold dances and teas for the poor women who toil in the sweatshops. I am determined to get these women to unionize at the dances. I'm the first one on the dance floor when the first horn note sounds, and the last one to leave when the horn is put away. I love music, all kinds. Music is medicine for me when I feel low, and I dance. Peg of my heart, I love you, don't play this part. I love you, it's your Irish heart, one should dance with abandonment and exuberance. Why do the comrades judge me as the most untiring and gayest at these dances? Why have a revolution if you can't stop to smell the roses? Does the movement want me to become a nun? As a child, I was always chastised for having too much energy. Shaw! Shaw! Papa, I'm an adult now, and no, it is not wrong. At the heart of my revolution are women's economic and sexual emancipation, not a detail to be settled after the revolution. A woman is not emancipated because she can vote. It just means she has the right to vote. She can make the same mistakes as a man. It's a woman's right to support herself, to love and be loved, to have control over her body, and the freedom to speak her mind. I get arrested so often, I found it a necessity to have a book with me when I go out to speak, to pass the long hours. I am not a knitter. October, Chicago, 1908. It was here that I met Ben Reitman, the hobo man. He started riding the rails at age 11 and developed his concern for the hobo's way of life. Hobos are not criminals, but men seeking employment who ride the rails to areas that have seasonal jobs. Ben established his hobo college to give the men the opportunity to get an education without having to endure religious service, to be treated with respect. Ben offered me his place for my speech, my meeting. But the police came and squashed the plan, but not my lust for Ben Reitman. My fantasy man with a cowboy hat, tall, dark, curly hair, beautiful smile, a handsome brute. Our mutual lust turned into reciprocal love. He is young, but who is counting? Meeting Ben was like a tidal wave washing over me, drowning me in unparalleled passion. Never in my wildest fantasies did I think such physical passion could exist. Wrong. My love is total and complete. I can't believe I'm feeling like one of those heroines in the Penny Dreadful swooning over a heartthrob, and those songs do make sense. Friends, especially Sasha, said, it is just a temporary infatuation. But they were not in his arms at night. Was Sasha jealous even though he had been my lover in many, many years? Yet, to my dismay, within 4 months, it was apparent that Ben was cheating on me. Not once, but constantly. He pilfered funds meant for Mother Earth. Oh, the scoundrel! I struggle with my anarchistic ideal of free love. My feelings of jealousy. My need to be with my Ben. Why did I never ask him to leave? Then, and I traveled extensively. How could I not go on a road and not fight for a world without freedom, a world without poverty? My all-consuming dream, liberty for all! The individuals need the basics: food, shelter, decent wages, working conditions, 8-hour day, kind of world. Ben's commitment to our work was strong. We joined Margaret Sanger and her husband in the public fight to legalize birth control. I felt so strongly about birth control that I dedicated the entire September 1914 issue to the topic. Women should keep their minds open and their wombs closed. Please quote me on that. It took the authorities about a year, but Ben and I were arrested. I thought, why not use the trial as a platform for my beliefs? The absolute despair of the poor women on the Lower East Side is heart-wrenching. To abort a pregnancy, they would roll on the floor, jump off tables, drink vile concoctions, use a blunt instrument, all this to no avail. It is absolutely absurd that women cannot have contraception. Women must be given the right. My ploy was beautiful, with the press coverage and the men and women across the United States all joined to fight to legalize birth control. Ben's last hurrah. He wanted me to marry him when we got out of prison. Prison time gave me a chance to ruminate about my life. As a child, I saw young peasant girls made pregnant by the rich lord and then ostracized. Wives and children beaten. Jews, outcasts, pogroms, the class system. All this made me a host, a brewing pot for my future work. I was destined to be an agitator, and the big business and government is running scared of little me. Then there must be something valid in what I say. So, when we got out of prison, Ben again approached me. He asked me to marry him. Did this man never listen to me? Thank you very much for that lovely proposal. But no, thank you. No more, Ben. God, it hurts. (1917) war is raging in Europe. President Wilson has asked Congress to declare war against Germany to make the world safe for democracy. A draft is imposed. The slaughter of men for war is appalling. to me and Sasha. The Espionage Act of 1917 decrees stiff fines and prison terms for anyone who obstructed the draft or encourages disloyalty. Sasha and I formed the No Conscription League to help fight the violation of young men's right to choose whether or not to fight. The June cover of Mother Earth, a black draped tombstone in memoriam, American democracy. Without a search warrant, the police broke into Mother Earth's office and confiscated our papers and arrested Sasha and me, tried and found guilty. What a birthday! 50, in prison, bad food, alone. After serving our prison times, Sasha and I were transported back to New York, where Mr. J. Edgar Hoover rearrested us. I was stripped of my citizenship. Sasha never became a citizen, and sent to Ellis Island to wait. We just heard that Frick had died. Deported by God, was Sasha's retort. Sasha and I wrote a letter of farewell to our friends and comrades. My special letter to Fedra, with deep affection to the most generous of friends. Please, I implore you, do not forget me. So now,